Go for it, Nsima. Read that quote that you saw.
You won't.
Okay. So there's a lot of interesting comments in the Greg Doucette video.
No way.
Yeah, there's a lot. But one of these comments is from this guy, Alex Flores, and it said, "This is what these kids that are starting to lift need to hear. My son thought all these guys and some kids that are fitness influencers were natural. I had to explain that wasn't the case, and most of the people he compares himself to are on performance-enhancing drugs. So thanks for saving our kids' self-esteem." And we're going to get into a lot of different stuff on this episode. I think Greg had a lot of interesting points on his podcast. But overall, I think back to when I was a teenager starting lifting. There wasn't YouTube, there wasn't social media. And I had individuals that were fitness influencers that I was like, at least at the time, that I was like, I want to look like that. I never wanted to look like a Phil Heath or a Ronnie Coleman. I knew that was drug abuse. But I wanted to look like Greg Plitt was one of my favorite people, right? And if you look at pictures of Greg Plitt, there's going to be, so many people who are like, oh, Greg's definitely on some HRT or TRT. But for me at the time, I was like, I truly believe I can do that. And I was much smaller, but I believed that if I train long enough, that I can achieve that or even better.
Yeah, he
right?
had abs on top of abs, deeply etched in there. It looks incredible.
And there are pictures where he looks way crazier.
Yeah.
But the thing is we've learned from so many people. And if there's a book that I think anybody should get, it's called The Expectation Effect. And it pretty much, the summary of that book is that the expectations that you hold of yourself with whatever you're doing and then your belief systems, if you expect you're going to be able to do something and believe you can, you're going to head in that direction. But if you already expect that going towards that, you're not going to be able to, and it's already impossible and you can't do it, well, you won't be able to do it. I'm not telling you that if you believe you can look like Phil Heath, you will look like Phil Heath. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that if you dampen your expectations and you lower what you believe you can achieve, you're going to get right there to what you expect. And all I want people to do is increase their expectations.
It's a powerful thing, spoken word, just talking about what you think you're going to be able to do. Those who can't probably won't. Those who think they can will at least have a shot, So I kind of just like to kind of think along the lines of like, how is this helpful? How is this helpful for me to have a negative kind of thought process around this? The interesting thing about that comment, and first of all, props to the dad that wrote that in, because we need more parents more involved in what their children do. So that's awesome that this guy probably has good interaction with his son on lifting. Maybe he even taught him a little bit about, that's amazing. That's incredible. That's some really class act, high level parenting right there. But what he also mentioned is, he said, my son, some of the people that he might be comparing himself to might be on performance enhancing drugs. So it's not all. So that's interesting, because which ones maybe potentially aren't? And what do they look like? And what are those possibilities? That's kind of the thing I've been looking at a lot, is like, is everyone lying? Like, not everyone's lying. Like, there's some of these guys got to be drug free around here, right? I know that people want to pretend, that these high level athletes, professional athletes and stuff, that everyone across the board is on shit, and that they've been on stuff for really long periods of time, and they got an excuse for everything. But I think really all it is excuses. What happens with somebody when they double down on something and they put a ton of time and effort in? The other side of this coin too is the fact that for some reason, when it comes to certain other attributes that someone might have, let's say dancing, or let's say playing the piano. You take a group of 100 people and you have them dance. There could be a handful of people. There could be like 5-6 people that could dance probably at a really high level to where you're like, holy crap, that's incredible. That looks amazing. There could be 5 people out of 100 that could play the piano pretty damn good. There's going to be a couple people in there that probably never really even played the piano before in their life, or maybe just had a small amount of lessons. Like, one person that plays it really, really well may have only played it for a couple months, while the other person may have played it for 10 years. And same with the dance. The couple people in the group of 100 that could dance well, there might be somebody that was actually a dance instructor But is it possible for somebody that's been doing it for 1 month to instinctually, to be natty, to have this natural flow to their body because of stuff they've seen when they were young or some sort of genetic potential, or maybe they can hear the beats a little differently than everybody? Fuck yeah, there is. There's massive. We have gigantic differences between us when it comes to not only just our genetics, but what we're exposed to when we're young.
Power Project family, how's it going? Now on this podcast, Mark, Andrew, and I, we talk about fasting a lot. We talk about the ketogenic diet and a lot of different types of diets, but Bubs Naturals has a product. They have the collagen protein, which is amazing. They have these apple cider vinegar gummies, which are like crack, but they have
They are.
they have these MCT oil powder packets that I've never used to do this, but in the morning I'll wake up and I'll put it in coffee, and the smoothness, number one, in terms of the mixing is amazing, but the consistency of my energy through the day because of the MCT oil powder is peak. Andrew, how's your experience with it?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's like the best way to start the day. You're satiated, you're energized, and you're just ready to crush the day. So if you guys want to get in on this MCT oil powder, head over to bubsnaturals.com and at checkout, enter promo code Power Project to save 20% off your entire order. Again, Bubs Naturals, promo code Power Project to save 20% off. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. You had, I think, the best analogy that I'd have ever heard, which was like, how come with LeBron James we all just know, well, he's a gifted athlete from birth, and he's put in the work, but he's just way better than I'll ever be. But yet when it comes to the gym, it's like, oh, we're all on the same playing field. Like everyone's identical, and so if they can get way more advanced than me, then they're taking a little something.
It's because of the physical attributes of the gym and actually what the sport of bodybuilding is. Because when most people think of the sport of bodybuilding, they do think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. They do think of Chris Bumstead. They do think of Kai Green and Phil Heath. And those are people who have obviously used performance-enhancing drugs to get their physiques. But there's also a middle ground of people who chose not to go that route. And some of those people in that middle ground that have competed without using drugs have done it for a long time, but they have the ability to get to really good looking physiques, really fucking good looking physiques without steroids. But it's not like in basketball, you can't just take a lot of steroids and dunk. These are skills. In soccer, you can't just take a bunch of steroids and become a great soccer player. So when it comes to things like that,
figure skating, there's a lot of different sports that have so many different things going on. You can't necessarily just take steroids for them.
People don't look at those high skilled individuals and just think Steph Curry's on some type of drug that lets him shoot.
Tennis player or something, right?
People don't look at that like that. But in this physical sport, if you are claiming to be natural and you look elite, well, the assumption is, well, you're probably doing all like a lighter version of what these guys did. It's a lighter version. It's a little bit of HRT. It's a little bit of TRT. It's a little bit of PEDs to get to where you are right now. And that's a fact. This isn't speculation. To them, it's fact. So,
yeah.
I also think it's kind of interesting of people just like sometimes when people talk about me being on them, I'm just thinking to myself like, well, you have the power to make a choice one way or the other as well, and you obviously made your choice. So are you disappointed with your choice, or are you disappointed that I made a different choice? I mean, I've talked about it openly. And so people kind of make it sound like I have access to something that they don't have access to. But especially now more than ever, everyone's got access to it. So sometimes when I look at that, I'm just like, man, that's kind of weird. I don't understand. I don't understand like where they're coming from, because I'm just thinking, well, just like protein powder, you get the same access as I do. It does have a little bit of a cost, but it ain't expensive. Testosterone's not expensive. It's like $50 for 10 milliliters of it, $60. If somebody's selling it to you for more than that, they're taking you for a ride. If you guys want to order some from me, go to markbell.com.
Link in the description, promo code
right
Power
there.
Project, so that 50 comes out to a little bit less.
But man, that's the danger though, because like this generation of lifters, and I'm 30 years old. Am I really being the back in my day guy?
I think you are.
I'm about to be the back in my day guy. dude, like
when I was 27.
when I was 16, I feel like such an ass. But
just wait, it gets worse.
Dude, Brandon Harding, I've brought him up before, but he started taking tests or stuff 3 years into his training career. And you see how he looks now, you see all the success he's had, blah, blah, blah. And guys love him because he was honest.
He kept it real.
He kept it
That's all we ask, Nsima. We just want you to keep it real.
And I see that comment too about Mike, like, I'd have so much respect for you if you were honest, right? So, but the reason why you see so many young TikTok fitness guys or whatever, guys lifting for only 3, 4, or 5 years and then being like, okay, I'm going to up my level and get on TRT is because to everyone, it's so normal, you know? It shouldn't be normal when you're that young. It should literally be for when you get to a point where you're older and your testosterone is not close to where it was and you're doing everything in your lifestyle to be healthy and increase your tests, but it's not there. That is when that card should be played. It shouldn't, I mean, okay, everyone has different goals. Some people want to be pro fucking bodybuilders, but if you're a guy that just wants to get big and lift, I don't know. My opinion is that like that shouldn't be your card, you know? And again, we're all adults. We all have the ability to make choice, but now TRT for younger guys is more common than ever. That's weird.
It's actually celebrated too.
It is celebrated because when you come out, if you're an influencer and you're like, I'm now doing TRT, bro, that's why I dig you so much, man. You're honest. It's like,
here's the other thing that I wonder. So I did mention like, hey, you got access to it, right? But when I was training in the beginning, yes, I did read about it and stuff, but I remember being so excited about the results I was getting and being so into, like I had like a training log and I would write everything down and I would see like, oh, that's what I did last week. I'm going to up that a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit more weight. I wasn't sitting there thinking about all these external ways I could get better. I was thinking about I was in the workouts. I was thinking about the workout. I was thinking about the next time I'm going to go to the gym. And I was really excited and motivated for every time that I was able to go back to the gym. So it's a fascinating thing that people get so wrapped up in it. But just again, what would happen if you put in the work and you do so day in and day out and you build up some consistency? What if you're consistent for 30 days? What if you're consistent for 60 days? What if you're consistent for 90 days? What does that look like? There's not a steroid that you can take that's going to improve your consistency or improve your ability to make the correct decisions. There's not going to be a steroid that you can take that's going to improve your ability to tell your friends you're not going out with them. There's not going to be a steroid that's going to teach you to like shun alcohol and shun things that are going to pull away from your training routine. That'll always be the most powerful thing that you ever do is make the decision to stick to your habits and to stick to your guns and to do it over and over and over again. That's what I was obsessed with when I was a kid. I was obsessed with, I want to see what results I can get. And you know what? I was getting results. So steroids took a back seat. Even though I was reading about them, and I was pumped about them, I was excited. I was like, these sound fucking awesome. Wow. Someone can gain like 10, 15 pounds, like, and they could do all these other things. Like, holy shit, that sounds crazy. Yeah. But I was gaining strength as well. I was getting bigger as well. I was getting in better shape. So it's like, well, you know, if you're going to the gym and you're going 3 times a week, and then the next week you go 1 time a week, and then you miss a month, and then you go for... That's where I really see the danger of somebody like getting involved super early where they didn't have a couple base years of like just kind of learning the gym, like knowing how to work out. There's a lot of guys that are taking stuff that probably have not even scratched the surface of what their body could truly do. And I think that kind of sucks.
So Power Project family, I hope you enjoyed this clip. We are on Discord and Reddit. We're trying to talk to you guys and build a community down there. So the links are in the bio. But remember, like, comment, subscribe, share this out with people so you can share the wealth of health. As cheesy as that fucking sounds. Peace.